I do think that we need to normalize talking about forced psychiatric hospitalization and the damage that it does. So I'm going to share my story on here. And thankfully, these lives are deleted after 30 days. So if I say anything totally embarrassing, at least it'll only be here temporarily. So I'm going to tell you my story, and it is pretty personal, but I'm going to tell it in such a way where I just share the parts that I'm comfortable of while still giving you the full truth. So let me start off with this. This most recent time was not my only hospitalization. I've had many of them, and I had one about a month ago where I was given a shot of Haldol, and that shot lasts for a month. So right now, that's still affecting me. It's still in my system and it's still weighing me down. But what I want to share about in this live is my most recent experience. So, about a week ago, I was on Facebook and um, I wasn't on Facebook at the beginning of the story. At the beginning of the story, I had just finished a worship set with IHOP Kansas City, and it was like a really deep time in worship, but I left feeling really broken and like really down, like more down than I have felt in a really long time. And not that this is a joke, but this is the second time a deep worship experience has led me to the emergency room, which has led me to a psychiatric hospitalization. The first one involved falling down a lot, and like shaking a lot. And also, I hadn't slept in a really long time. But the second one, this most recent one, I felt really broken. I felt really depressed. I felt really down. I felt really hopeless. And this is after worship. This is like after my my capacity was filled and I couldn't stay in worship any longer. I just left feeling really down. And the reason for that is because I realized as I was worshiping that there's a part of me, like, it's very hard to explain. There's a part of me that's missing. There's a part of me that's broken. There's a part of me that doesn't have like the normal human experience. I have something in my eye right now. That doesn't have the normal human experience. Like, I have termed it as autism, but I don't think it's truly autism. I don't think that's truly the name that it should have. I do think that the description of being autistic fits my experience, but I think that the experience is truly a lot deeper than like the name autism, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So, I wrote this post and I put it on Facebook, and it was something like I took it down since then, but it was something like um I don't just have the dark night of the soul, I have the dark life of the soul. God is holding my missing puzzle pieces in heaven where I can't touch them. Like, it was something like that. And what I meant by that is like there is this part that has to do with social interactions that just make sense to some people, but to me, like, it doesn't make sense. They don't come natural. And I have like a lot of social anxiety, and I've experienced fear to the deepest possible level. That's part of my testimony, and I'm going to be sharing my testimony in chronological order on YouTube. I decided where I actually, it's not live, but it's recorded, and I'm going to share my whole testimony, like from birth to age 35, on YouTube in the next coming days. So I made this post on Facebook and then I showed it to my parents. I was like, this is my life update because I live with my parents. So I showed it to them. They were downstairs. And my dad, like, he was like, do you want me to take you to the hospital? And I was like, yes, I want you to take me to the hospital, because that has been sort of the the, what do you call it, like the cycle that I've been in for years now. And I really want to get out of it. I really hope that I'm coming out of that. But I said yes, like I wanted to be in a different environment. I wanted to be helped. But then I got to the hospital and it was like matters got worse. It was like I was judged, I was rejected, I was put in this little room by myself and I couldn't leave. I tried to leave twice and I was literally just gonna, anyhow, I tried to leave twice. Even though I didn't have like a practical way of leaving, I didn't want to be in the hospital. So they stopped me and they put me in the little room. And I did have something physically wrong, like I got an IV, but then that was pretty much over, even though the underlying problem isn't over. So basically, at about 3 o'clock in the morning, this man comes in with a, like, I don't remember if it was a man or a woman, but someone who works at the hospital came in with a stand and with the, like an eye, what is it called? Pad, an iPad on the stand, and I ended up talking with this psychiatrist over the iPad, and I got really frustrated with him, and I said, like, why are you asking me all of these questions? This isn't relevant. And what I was really frustrated about was that I think dealing with mental health issues needs to be relational, just like ministry needs to be relational. But this wasn't relational. It was like answer question A, answer question B, answer question C, answer question D. And all the questions were like, do you see things? Do you hear things? Do you have thoughts of suicide? And it was just like so not personal, and I was getting really frustrated. So he wrote me up as being agitated, and then he talked to my dad. And after that, they said that I needed to go to the hospital because I was agitated, some form of bipolar. And I was like, oh my gosh, this has happened so many times. Like, this is not a reflection of me. This is a reflection of a broken system and a world where the God of this world is Satan. And he's trying to drug people into like a state of blindness, a state of spiritual blindness. So I go to the hospital and I'm trying to make the best of it. But the part of that that really is a bummer for me is I just start making relationships in the world outside of the hospital, and then they're all cut off and it's like I just ghosted everybody. Like that's how it appears. But really I'm being held in the psychiatric hospital again. And so it's not that I just wanted to cut out on everybody, it's that I literally had no phone, no internet. Hello to whoever is viewing right now. I'm pretty new at doing live, so I don't know who you are, but thank you for watching. So anyhow, I'm in the hospital, and the thing that you'll understand if you've been there before is that it often like depletes you more to be in that environment. For me, I felt like I really had to be on guard, guarding my own peace. And a lot of the people there are not equipped to deal with their mental struggles in a godly way. So a lot of the people aren't believers, and a lot of the people are. But it's very hard when you're in that environment and you're surrounded by not just negativity, but like people embracing lies, and even some of the teaching that they do in the hospital. Some of it is good teaching and some of it's bad teaching. So within one worksheet that you got, that you're handed out, you have to like figure out what parts are good and what parts are bad, or good or evil. And sometimes I just say I'm not going to go to group. Like I'll just read my Bible. And if you don't go to the groups, you get penalized because they see it as you're not taking the steps necessary for your healing, or like to have better mental health. For me, I'm trying to maintain order. So, um, basically, sorry, I'm new at doing lives, like I was saying earlier. So I'm looking at this whole screen right now and like seeing everything that's going on. It's really interesting. So I'm glad that it's kind of quiet on here right now because I can actually like look at the screen and figure out how to do this thing that I'm doing right now by going live. Only if I push the wrong button, I'm going to have to start over. So it's hard because you're in kind of a dark environment. And I feel the spirit there too, God's spirit. But I think that change when it comes to systems in the world comes slowly. And there can be overnight changes, like the emancipation of Auschwitz was overnight. But I want the emancipation of the psych hospital. And it's gotten better from where it was years ago, but it's still a lot of taking away people's rights. And my rights have been taken away so many times in so many ways, and it's really not right. I'll share more about that in the future. Um, so the time before this time was when I was given the Haldol injection, and to me, that is shattering in the sense that I don't have the same prayer life like for the next month, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's not that God has gone away or that the connection is broken, because the connection stays steady in the spirit, but like my access to my own mind has been locked partially, and that's what antipsychotics do. um so I love everybody. I just wanted to come on and share a little bit about where I've been for the last week or so and how it's an injustice, and I'll be sharing more about it. But for now, that's all. Good night.